Welcome to the Experience Podcast. My name is Neil. I am a multi-dimensional spiritual being that's expressing through a human body. So welcome again. So I had an opportunity, like right now, and the opportunity was to go sleep or to actually remain awake and film something, create content, express an aspect of my soul. And it could look like many different things. It could look like singing. It could look like dancing. It can look like communicating. It could look like gardening. So I had a decision point to where um, my ego, my brain was telling me that essentially I could sleep and just rest and that'd be perfect, and then there's this piece of my soul that wants to express and wants to share and contribute. And why am I speaking to this? Well, it's because when we're depressed or we're anxious, it's from um, not following our purpose and not expressing from our soul, which is coming from our heart. And so, if you ever feel yourself like in this place where you just feel like shit, um, most often it's because there's no clear direction, and we want to express from our soul. And when that shows up for me, um, what I'll do and have done actually just recently, and it is to essentially create a mind map of bubbles where at the center of the page you identify an exact goal that you would choose to accomplish. And then from that goal, you have sub goals that branch out from your main goal, and then you have sub goals that branch out from your sub goals. And your sub goals get you to your goal, get you to your sub goals, and then your sub goals get you to your main goal. And then just by going through this process, my soul and my brain and my body starts to feel oriented, and like it's got a clear direction, and like it has purpose. And when I accomplish like a step in the direction of the goal, I receive dopamine. I receive like a feel good hormone in my body. Like I actually feel like beneficial. And when things don't go towards the goal, I feel like I have the opportunity to feel like shit, like, oh, like I'm actually going away from where I am focusing on. And so when that occurs, as a creator, in every moment, I have the opportunity to choose what I'm going to use the moment for. And we're programmed that we can only feel good in like certain scenarios, like this, and this has got to happen, and then I'll be able to feel joyful. Well, what if I just choose to feel joyful, and it doesn't matter if this and this happens? And because ultimately the only thing that we're ever looking to experience is a feeling. And where are those feelings coming from? They're coming from in here. They come from within us. And we enter the illusion when we when we forget that those feelings come from in here, and when we forget that those feelings are coming from inside of us, we start to forget. We look at the world and we start to get things outside of us because we think when we get those things, then those things will give us the feeling that we're looking to feel, um, and we're not currently experiencing. So none of those things, none of those people, none of those possessions, none of those toys, none of those cars, none of those houses, they don't have the capacity to give you the feeling that you want to experience. Only you have that capacity. And how we, so also when we forget, and we forget that we're a generator, we're the source of, um, we're responsible for the feelings we're experiencing in our body. When we recognize that, then, or when we forget that, we're being a consumer. And that's why we've forgotten that it's coming from in here, so we need to consume everything out there in order to feel a certain way by consuming those things. And it's just a flipping of the switch. So when we flip the switch to actually being a creator, and we recognize that the feelings actually emanate from in here, it's then that we can begin to consciously create that what we choose to experience in our external physical manifestation. Because when we're a consumer, we're unconsciously creating, because the world is our mirror, and it's reflecting outside of us what's occurring inside of us. And we go where we live emotionally, and we use our environment to get ourselves there. So essentially, the environment is reflecting to us our comfort zone of our emotion. And some people's comfort zone is hatred. Some people's comfort zone is chaos, and they would never admit it. But when you look at their environment, wherever they go, anger shows up. Wherever they go, chaos shows up. So this allows for us to see that that is where they're comfortable. And if the person is comfortable in chaos, and chaos is not in their environment, then they are uncomfortable being peaceful. And so when we're conscious creators, we recognize and we remember that the feeling starts in here. It's not from out there. And through that, I can now feel that feeling. So I can feel the feeling of gratitude, and I can feel the feeling of joy, and feel the feeling of authenticity. And then what happens is, because I'm the source, I'm the co-creator of the feeling that I'm feeling inside of me. I'm not looking out there to experience the feeling. I'm experiencing it in here. And because that I'm experiencing it in here, the world is our mirror. Now the external world is reflecting back to me the feeling that I'm already feeling. And when a person is, their comfort zone is chaos, then they are already in chaos inside their body unconsciously. They don't even have the cognition to realize yet that they're in chaos in their mind, in their thoughts, and in their spirit. And then the environment shows up and is reflecting chaos to that person, and then they get all like chaotic, and they're like, why is all this things happening? And it's happening because the chaos was already inside the person, and now the environment is just showing up to bring out the chaos that's already in there. And in the same way with peace, when we're co-creators and we start to feel the feelings that we choose to experience when things, and like if you had a perfect spouse, if you had the perfect environment, having like an ocean view, If you were surrounded by a community of people, like you had like neighbors where you could just walk next door and like communicate to them, all of that produces a feeling. So if I can recognize what that feeling is, and for me it's like a feeling of peace and a feeling of connection and love and authenticity and that. So those are like the general feelings that I would feel if I was in that environment with a perfect spouse, with community, with amazing neighbors. And the thing is, I don't need all that, what I just spoke to in the external, to feel that. So now I can start to feel more love and actually have a way of being, of like literally being love. And wherever I show up, love is present because I'm at the source of it. And I can start to experience connection in my body and experience the connection in all things, and start experiencing more peace and authenticity and congruency in my being. And I can be experiencing all of that right now in this moment, and without having the spouse, without having the perfect house with the ocean view, without having the community and the amazing neighbors that I can just go talk to. So I can be feeling those feelings right now in this present moment. And so feeling them initially is important, yes. But then the 3D has somewhat of a time lag, so it's not going to show up immediately in my external. But as I continue to nurture these feelings, and I just continue to feel them every day, I feel love and I feel connection and I feel authenticity and peace and congruency of being. As I cultivate these feelings and I keep watering them and start engaging in activities that I love, that I'm using to cultivate more peace and more love and more connection, and communicating from a place of love and connection and peace. What happens as I continue watering these seeds that are within me, that I'm calling love and peace and connection and authenticity, the entire reality starts to rearrange itself outside of ourselves to reflect those emotions to us. And this reflection is super powerful because the reflection happens after we've already been feeling the feelings. So because of that, now that I'm a creator, I don't need to go looking for a new car, for a spouse. I don't need to go looking for a house or even for food. And what I can do is just start cultivating the feelings that I would feel if those things were present. And then as a byproduct of feeling that and nurturing those feelings and watering those feelings every day, the external now starts to reflect that. So who am I? Who is this speaking? This is Neil's body, but Neil's body is not who I am. Who I am is a multi-dimensional spiritual being that's infinite, and it's expressing through a human body, specifically Neil's body. And intellectually knowing what I just said is useless. And it's useless because it's information. And information is it's basically stagnant potential is what information is. So wisdom is applied knowledge. So knowing who I am and knowing who you are intellectually as information is like useless because it's stagnant. And it only becomes valuable when it's applied, and it only becomes valuable when it's directly experienced and lived. And so we can talk about oneness all day long. Um, we can talk about our infinite connection, and we can talk about the truth. And if we're just hearing words and information and storing information in our brain, and we're not changing anything in our way of being, in our communication, in our actions, in our thoughts, if we're not changing any of that, then the information is stagnant and nothing is happening with it. And it's only once we apply the information, we start living the information, is when it has a powerful effect on physical matter. So that's this aspect of, like, often people have wanted like a recipe for being present, or wanted a recipe to get to know themselves, and like, so if I just do this, then this will happen, like A plus B is C. And I'm here to tell you that there is no one recipe. We're all one, yes, and we're all different, and oneness and sameness are not the same. So we're one, and we're all unique expressions of that one. And because of that, the recipe that's used for me to remember who I am is different than the recipe that you're using to remember who you are. And it's different for your next door neighbor for remembering who he is. And we're essentially all members of one body. And some of us are a mouth, some of us are an ear, some of us are a nose, some of us are the eyes, some of us are an asshole, some of us are the toes, some of us are the heel, some of us are the knee. So we're all different, but without the feet, how are the eyes going to walk around to see things? And without the eyes, how are the feet going to know where to navigate? So because we're different doesn't discount our value. Like, we are infinitely valuable in our difference. And right now, collectively on a global scale, sameness is being promoted. And if you don't think the same thing, if you have differences of opinion, you're literally canceled. Sometimes by your best friends, sometimes by your parents, oftentimes by the media. Like, there's a psychologist by the name of Jordan Peterson right now that is literally, he's being tried in court for speaking the truth and being authentic, and having a difference of opinion, and sharing his unique expression. And there essentially he has a couple options, but one of the options is to be retrained by a social media expert. And with this social media expert, essentially the only the only way he's able to pass is if that person basically approves that he has learned what this social media expert has taught him, and that he's congruent with that person's belief system, which is sameness, and it's bullshit. Like, it's our unique expression that creates ripples. It's what changes worlds and designs new worlds. And so our uniqueness is essential. And like, another aspect is, like, why am I speaking right now? Why I'm speaking right now is for my soul expression, for my difference to flow out of me, so that it might spark something in somebody else, so that may bring an inspiring why to you. And I'm speaking as an expression of who I am, with the intention of illumination and clarity and authenticity in the words that I'm speaking. So now that I've said that, why did I bring that up? Well, I keep asking the question why, and why we do anything is what creates the anything to be inspiring. So like, if I choose to stand up right now and go get some water, the reason I chose to stand up and go get some water was because I was inspired to go get some water. And um, so the why is what's inspiring. And uh, basically with the why, like tuning into ourselves and asking the question like, why am I doing anything that I'm doing? And if I don't know why I'm doing what I'm doing and why I'm expressing what I'm expressing, then then like I need to clarify that immediately, because if I don't know why I'm doing what I'm doing, why I'm expressing what I'm expressing, then that's unconsciousness. And when we're conscious, we're aware of why we're doing everything that we're doing, why we're expressing everything that we're expressing, why we're being the way that we're being. Um, Unconscious is not knowing our why, and conscious is remembering our why, solidifying it, and then going out and operating in the world from our why. And there's an exercise called 7 Levels Deep, where you ask the question like you basically have a orientation of the question, and it could start with I could start with this podcast as the orientation. So why am I filming this video right now? And then answer the question, and then ask, all right, so why did I answer like that? And then continue going 7 levels deep to where you find your 7th why, and oftentimes then that's the real why of why I'm actually expressing what I'm expressing. And so our why is everything, and it's the why that generates the inspiration within us to actually take action, to move, to begin to think new thoughts, to begin to have a new way of being. The only reason we do any of that is because we have a why. And when the shit hits the fan, when nothing is working, what keeps us going is our why. Because it's our why that inspires us. Like, I believe in in heaven on earth, in people living in harmony, people living in community that are like single-minded on a common purpose. It's their difference that's making a difference in that purpose. So each person is different, but the purpose is aligned for the entire community. And I believe that's possible for the collective humanity, and I believe that we're moving in that direction and beginning to step into it. And because I believe that, and I started to feel the feelings of being connected already. I started to feel the feelings of being aligned with purposeful people. I've been cultivating and watering the feeling of feeling peace while being surrounded by like-minded soul family. My external reality now is reflecting soul family. I eat with people at a breakfast table every day that were strangers to me a year ago, and like it's been a little over a year, maybe like a year and a half, but so now a year and a half later, they're family, and they're family because of being on purpose, on a similar path. You see, we have body friends and we have soul friends. Body friends are friends to our body and they're enemies to our soul. And soul friends don't give a shit about the body and they care everything about the soul. And so I'm on this earth, on this plane of existence, to only interact with soul friends and family. And our immediate family can occasionally be, and I say immediate like blood family, like actual relatives that we're related to, they can be body friends to where they're literally killing our soul while being a friend to our body. And then the same way we can have blood family that literally has no interest in our body, like they don't care because they know that we're not the body, we're the soul in the body, and so they don't care about our body, but they would just sacrifice everything for our soul. So additionally, in the collective right now, I say the collective, and I'm specifically communicating about the collective ego. So the ego's greatest joy is control and manipulation. And what the ego is there's four components to the ego. It's my perception, my truth, my opinion, and my experience. And anytime the ego says anytime any person speaks and communicates any of those four components, they're speaking from the ego. So the ego says like, well, my experience was this and this and this. The ego also says, well, this is my perception about the thing. That's the ego talking. The truth, it doesn't have a perception. It's just a discernment of reality. The ego says, well, my opinion is yada yada, whatever the thing is. And the ego also has a my truth. So it says like, well, my truth is my socks are blue, and they're like pink. But the ego has a my truth. It says like, well, in my world, this is how it is. Well, that's bullshit. Your world doesn't exist. The truth exists. The truth is a discernment of reality, and so the ego has four components, and in the collective right now, so also the ego's greatest desire is control and manipulation, and it like gets its rocks off when it's controlling and manipulating, and it is also infinitely creative in controlling and manipulating. And so in the collective right now, control and manipulation is extremely prominent because the majority of the collective is, there may be like semi-conscious, but the majority is the ego running the body and running the thoughts. And because of that, control and manipulation are everywhere. And so power is not control. Control is like being forceful, and power is essentially where when you remember who you are and you experience and live who you are, and then you just start looking around and power just starts coming out of you, and you don't need to like do anything with power. As a matter of fact, one of the most powerful things you can do is to just be silent and sit and not do anything. It's extremely powerful. So our access to power is directly proportional in our ability to cooperate. So in the collective ego, the ego is all about me. It's all about getting. It's all about what can I get for me? How can I set me up for success? And fuck y'all, and I'm taking care of me, and whatever you do, I don't like, I'll assist you if it'll benefit me. And that's called whoring. That's called giving to get. So with power coming from our capacity and ability to cooperate, when we cooperate with other people, we step into we-ness. we step into oneness. We remember that we're infinitely connected to everyone and everything, and in that remembering, we start to cooperate with everything and everyone, because in cooperating with everything and everyone, we're constantly cooperating with ourselves in here. And that is where the power lies, and the power lies in the people. The power is not out there, it's in here. And it's in here in the direct proportion that we have the capacity to cooperate with each other, with everyone and everything. So thank you so much for being here. I'm reading this comment from Stay Happy Journeys. Unity consciousness was very likely the original blueprint of creation before the fall of mankind. Yes, well, like, even right now, unity consciousness is it's the truth. It's the highest truth that's beyond all our egoic tendencies. And so unity consciousness is the truth. See, the thing about my truth is that it's in time, and that in a certain time frame the thing is going to go away. But the thing about the truth is that it's infinite and eternal, and all humanity can go away, all of nature can go away, Earth can disappear, and the truth, unity consciousness, oneness, love is still going to remain, even when everything else is gone. So how I remember and know the truth within my soul is by seeing what will be here eternally, seeing what will be here when the body's not here, when Earth is not here, when the material things are gone. And yeah, just a piece on that. And so if you've been subscribed to this channel, thank you so much for your ongoing subscription and your support. And if you're new here, I invite you to subscribe to this channel and drop a like on this video. And I love you, and your time is infinitely valuable, because on this plane of existence, like, time is the only thing we have the ability to manage and navigate, and there's no price tag anybody can put on your time. And so I recognize that, and I recognize the power of you putting your time and energy into something. So I thank you so much for being here and experiencing this with me, showing up for yourself and healing yourself, because hurt people go around and they hurt other people, but when we heal ourselves, healed people go around and heal other people. I love you and I honor you, and that concludes this podcast. Peace.